From beautiful East Tennessee in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains, you are listening to the Sherry Voluntary Show, and I certainly do appreciate you taking your time to listen to me and my guest today, who is the lovely Daniel Blanchett, my producer extraordinaire.
The lovely?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's single, ladies.
Only kind of.
Only kind of? Well, yeah, I guess you have a girlfriend. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, he's kind of single. He don't have a ring on it, right?
I'm not really looking. I'm good. Thanks.
All right. Well, the love connection portion of the show has ended.
Don't try getting me in trouble here on the podcast.
Sorry. All right. So today, what we're going to talk about is basically with the holidays, coming up and Halloween tomorrow. Or when this comes out, it'll just have been Halloween. It'll be the day after.
In preparation for next Halloween in 364 days.
Yeah.
This is your Halloween special.
Yeah. So we just wanted to kind of talk to you guys about your overall wellness, mentally, physically, spiritually, if you're into that sort of thing. And, we're not here to tell you what you should do or what you should believe, any of that stuff. We just are wanting to encourage you to take care of yourself. And, the holidays are coming up and they're stressful to a lot of people and eat a lot.
To think for yourself and use common sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, to blame the state.
Right.
Because that's my forte. Blame the state. The state is the enemy, guys, remember?
Fair enough.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start it. Let's get started. So I guess you and I have both kind of been, both of us, honestly, now that I think about it a little more, on a spiritual and physical life-changing journeys in the past few years. So we've both had big life changes.
Yes.
And sort of spirituality. I don't know if you've had a spirituality change, but I have.
Yeah.
So, but I think you got more into your Buddhism.
My meditation practice.
Yeah. So.
Although I've been kind of slacking on it.
You're a bad Buddhist.
I am probably the worst. I am no Richard Gere.
That's true. And gerbils are thankful. Anywho, so I think that we've both kind of recognized the importance of taking better care of ourselves.
Yeah, and just being mindful of choices and things like that.
Yeah, you talk like a Buddhist, being mindful of things. Mm-hmm. Like, who wants to be mindful? I just want to sit in front of the TV and eat candy.
So
a lot of it.
So I think that's what I figured out is that I don't actually want to do those things. Like I have so little time that I want to think about what I'm doing and do it intentionally.
Right, exactly. And that's, I know talking with Anthony Samaroff on his book about, it's called Procrastination and Annihilation. I interviewed him months ago about that. And that was one of the things that he said helps with procrastinating is to be mindful of actually knowing, thinking about what you're doing.
Yep.
Making decisions like I'm going to do this now and not letting your day kind of run you, but running your day by one of the ways to do that is being mindful. So I think that's good. Also, with me leaving a 27-year participation in a religious group.
Cult.
Non-traditional religious group. Yes.
The Branch Davidians.
No, it wasn't the Branch Davidians, but probably not that far off, honestly. The fact that you kind of have this anchor, this huge anchor in your life that directs a lot of the purpose that you have, and then when you start to see problems with that. Then it was a year's process for me to come out of that. But last year, when I finally broke with that group, it's been a kind of a crazy year of finding myself again. And
I mean, you had that 4-month Coke binge.
All the hookers are real happy though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so not to, I had this big anchor in my life that I dedicated a lot of my time and mental energy to, and just physical energy, that I didn't have anymore. So kind of you swing like,
Yeah.
to try and find that equilibrium. And I don't know that I've actually found that yet, but, I didn't want to completely go, I don't believe in anything anymore.
So you switched to the Church of Libertarianism.
Honestly, there is an aspect of replacing some of that with libertarianism. Yes, that's true. I mean, I was already a libertarian, but definitely got more involved in, the Libertarian Party and
your governor's race. And,
yeah, I was so involved in that.
Anybody in Tennessee, vote for Sherry on Tuesday.
No, don't. That's the whole thing. I don't want you to vote for me. I don't want you to vote for anybody, honestly. I've got 2 votes though, or something.
At least
3. I mean, I'm not even voting for myself, so,
I voted for you just because I knew you didn't want it.
I didn't do anything with it, so I didn't tell people one way or the other, but...
That's what I look for in a candidate, is doesn't want the job, won't take it if they win.
Yeah. I just wanted to be a part of throwing myself upon the gears of the state to kind of make problems for them. Honestly, that's really why I did it. And to help out my friends in the party. So anyways, getting back to what we're talking about, which is healthy things. But there is an aspect of that I did have a lot more time to dedicate to, libertarian activism and things like that. And for months, that is really what kept me kind of not thinking about the things, and just kind of gave me
It helped
space.
break your old habits.
Yeah, and have space to transition so that it wasn't, my life wasn't empty all of a sudden.
Yep. And you went from being the man of the house to the woman of the house in your transition.
What?
Your transition, right?
Okay. You're crazy. Anyways, so there was that aspect of I had a lot to fill up my time, and so I didn't really have to think about, the break so much, but which I did need. I just needed some space to distance myself. But now I'm getting back into like, okay, so what do I actually believe? What are the things that I feel are true? And what are the things that are BS that I was taught? And how important are those things to me anymore? So there's been a lot to go through. And, I've had some health challenges and stuff that I'm trying to address. So I think that a lot of it is just when things aren't right, taking care of it then. Like you said, being mindful. I would have been done with that group years ago, honestly, if I hadn't have been willing to overlook certain things because I had some benefits to not every aspect of it was bad. A lot of it was good, but a lot of it was really, really bad. So it's a matter of, I think, my age too. I'm at a point where I'm like, you know what? This is what I believe. This is who I am. Take me or leave me. I'm not really as concerned with impressing people anymore.
Yeah.
And
good thing.
Right, because I don't impress people. Is that what you're saying? Thanks. So, and I know you've had sort of a similar, not religiously, but
yeah, absolutely. I've had, like, my personal life went through a lot of changes, and then I found I started going to my meditation group and just learned to sit with things and make intentional decisions rather than just doing what you've always done.
Being reactionary instead of proactive. Yeah.
Life is it's so easy to just do what you've always done or to do what seems like it's automatic. You're driving past Taco Bell and you pull in and you get a couple of burritos and you're on your way. That's easy. Mm-hmm. And it's immediately rewarding because you get that big sugar rush from
and the high, of it tastes really good and, whatever. Well, whatever. I mean, it doesn't have to be Taco Bell, but there's definitely the instant gratification aspect to it. And when I'm feeling crappy, so I can go and make myself feel better for 10 minutes.
You go home and you watch 4 hours of TV and,
right.
Eat a bowl of popcorn and that's your evening.
Yeah.
That's, that took a lot to get past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The move to Tennessee helped me, gave me a like a line in the sand where everything about my life was different. Mm-hmm. So I went ahead and I went with it. But
yeah,
I don't know what I'd have done without that motivation.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the thing that happens to us that helps us go, wait a second, I need to change a lot of things. And it makes you a little bit more introspective. And so I think, we too, both of us have been working on our physical health, as well as, just being more balanced in life. But physically, and we've been having some success. You've had a lot of success.
I've done pretty well.
Yeah.
I've lost, I guess, a fifth of my body weight.
Right. Which is awesome.
4 months.
And you look great. I think you feel better, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. So I started because I was having some heartburn and just general digestive issues. And so I went keto just to see if I could fix my digestive tract. And I lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks. And just felt better and had more energy. And I'm like, well, I'll just stick with this and see how it goes.
Right.
And so it's been 4 months, and I've lost 40 pounds. So
it's awesome. That's really great. And I think just not only the physical weight that comes off, but the mental issues that go along with that. Liking the way you look more and feeling healthier and better memory and things like that come along with taking better care of yourself. I think that's I know a lot of times when I first start, trying to change something, the problem isn't solved, but I already feel better about it because I've taken action. Whereas it's easy to get into depression mode and be like, I just suck and nothing's ever going to go well for me, but you haven't taken action on it yet. It's
right.
Easy to get in that cycle. But once you start taking action on something, I think that we're all just naturally a little bit more hopeful.
You get that natural momentum going, so that you're going. You're not
you've taken that first step,
right? So in the past, I've gone 6 months without eating meat, and it wasn't that I was a vegetarian. It's just I'm not eating meat right now. Mm-hmm. So I'm not on a diet. I'm just I'm eating the way I'm eating, and we'll see how it goes. And so rather than making it a whole big deal,
right,
I'm just doing it as long as it seems like it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's, I don't think not everything works for every season of life, and you have to figure out what works. So I think that's one of the things that we were, wanted to encourage people with is that, to just care about yourself more. I think we're all, most libertarians I know are passionate people.
Yeah.
They're passionate about the things that they believe, and we see a lot of problems in the world. And so a lot of our focus tends to be more on the negative side.
Yep.
And I think that can be really, really draining and really negative on your health, your mental health, your physical health. It can have that effect if you let it. So I think the more resilient we are, the healthier we are. The healthier we are, the more resilient we are.
Right.
And so, we wanted to encourage all of you to take care of yourselves, to figure out what it is. Is it your weight? Is it your, activity level? Is it
if you're feeling good, then spending a weekend in jail when you get arrested for throwing a pipe bomb into the mayor's office will be easier to deal with.
Where are you from?
What do you mean?
What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, if you're out there being an anarchist activist and you're fighting the good fight and you get arrested for it, you'll need, to be healthy to make it through the time in jail.
Yeah. I'm not going to be throwing pipe bombs at anyone. Not anytime soon.
No, I know. You encourage other people to do it.
No, I don't. And they attack garbage cans anyways. What are you talking about? So anyways, to encourage you, our listeners, my listeners,
Listener.
Yeah.
Hi out there.
To take care of yourselves and, to not buy into a lot of the crap that we're sold. And I know that one of the things that we were looking into is how crony capitalism has really affected people's health.
Yeah.
And in a really negative way. And it's not that in the 60s when the sugar lobby and the government teamed up to put the blame on fats and say sugar's really not bad for you, that they were intentionally doing that so that they could 30, 40 years later rake in the money from the pills that everybody would be on because they're sick, the pharmaceutical industry. But
they just wanted to sell more sugar.
Right. But then now, because of that one bad government intervention, which we know almost always makes things worse, they have more opportunity then down the road to make money off of sick people and people who have bought into their system of eating and what they would call health.
When the government picks winners, they turn everybody else into losers.
Yeah. And that's one of the other things they do is the problems with the state is that when you can make one of the industries pick a winner, then you are not only picking losers, but they actively cut off other companies, other ideas scientifically to get out there and make a difference in actual health for people.
Yeah, one of the things this article talks about is that once they started down the path of researching how sugar was good and healthy, and it gets peer-reviewed and it gets accepted into these major journals, then other researchers go, well, that's a path I can follow to get published.
Right, and government money.
Yeah, and as long as, and so it sets trends. And so, 40 years later, the idea that you can lose weight by cutting out sugar from your life is controversial because the way to lose weight is by not eating meat and by not eating fat. And those are the only approved ways. Like, you've got to have your 10 servings of grain a day or you're going to get cancer. You've got to be able to run 10 miles or you're going to get cancer and all of these things. Because the study populations they study healthy people doing healthy things and they study unhealthy people doing things they don't like.
Right.
And so obviously the person who weighs 400 pounds has a lot of bad habits going on. They're generally, they make less money. They are under more stress. They have all kinds of things going wrong in their lives.
Definitely more sedentary in general.
And, compared to, the vegan who's obviously considering health, the vegetarians and vegans who are thinking about their health.
They're highly disciplined in how they maintain their
If you can walk past a plate of bacon and not eat it,
right.
you're already, you're exhibiting strong self-control. So.
You can tell we've been two fatties, because we love bacon.
Yeah, so I really miss biscuits and gravy.
Oh, yeah.
And,
oh, my
hash
gosh.
browns.
Shh, I'm just at the beginning of this, and it's difficult already.
So. No, it's...
But, the thing is, being on this sort of high-fat diet, whereas, I've done paleo, too, which is more high-protein. Mm-hmm. But they're both pro-fat, pro-protein.
Yeah.
And so... you are more satiated. I don't feel hungry. It's a habit. I want to eat something out of habit, not because I actually need to eat something.
I don't know that I eat less. I mean, today, like I was telling you, I had a pound of stew beef for lunch.
A pound?
Yeah,
that's a lot of beef.
So I had cooked 3 pounds of stew beef for Korean beef last night for dinner, and I had a pound left over, so I went home for lunch and I heated it up and I ate it. Oh. But, I'll find out in the morning that I've lost another pound. So
right. Right. It is. It's weird. It's a weird feeling. But I think that's the point, is that we're not telling you to do paleo or keto or anything else. What we're telling you is figure out for you what works, and don't necessarily buy into the food pyramid that has been promoted by the state that is in bed with the people that they have as the things you should eat the most.
Don't let their indoctrination or their propaganda tell you what's healthy and what's not. Figure out what feels right to your body and go from there.
Yeah.
Like when I was a vegetarian for 6 months, I had less energy every day. And it was just a little bit at first, but over time I figured out that I absolutely have to eat meat or I'm not going to do okay. And I was getting plenty of protein. I was eating a lot of lentils and chickpeas and all the things that I was supposed to eat. And I really, I had a fairly varied diet, and it was tasty, and I was happy, but I just needed the additional something about the iron and the meat proteins that, I feel better when I'm eating meat.
Yeah, I I have friends, dear friends, and that are vegetarians or vegans. And, if it works for you, that's great. But honestly, they have to do a lot of work to replace proteins, like a lot. It seems like it's quite, it can be very unhealthy if they don't do it right.
Yep.
And not that, the average American diet is healthy. But I think, I watched a documentary on centenarians, and one of the things that I noticed, and they were asking them, they asked them a whole bunch of things, and I really enjoyed it. I've always really liked old people. So I enjoyed this documentary very much. And they were asking every one of them, well, how did you eat? What did you do? Anything special? One guy was like, I drank a drink every morning when I got up, like a whiskey.
Yeah.
Like, and he's like, then I had a whiskey.
Cigarettes.
Yeah, and then he's like, I had a whiskey with lunch. And then when I got home, I'd have a whiskey. and that was it. Like, he had 3 drinks a day for most of his life. He ate what he wanted. But they were all like that. They were all saying, like, I wasn't really concerned. I had all the butter I want. And they'll tell, like, several of them said, I want to tell young people to stop being so concerned about everything, to like just be and don't worry about every new fad that comes along. And
yeah.
So I think
happier people are the ones that live longer, not.
That's probably true too. Like something like that. I'm sure that has something to do with it. Or people that are just so mean they won't die. People like
I guess ornery makes up for happy.
Yeah, more ornery makes up for happy. So I'll live forever.
No. No.
But anyways, so I was amazed at how many of them said, they didn't take any particular radical steps towards their health, but they didn't, they weren't sedentary. They didn't just eat like pigs, but, they weren't denying themselves of.
Yeah. But, and the other thing is that the people that lived to 100 lived half their lives before all of these.
Exactly.
So they developed the habits that they, they're not going to be as susceptible to, you need to eat 10 servings of grain a day.
Right, because they've been eating grain for 50 years already, and it didn't, or eating not that much grain.
Their eating habits had already been set.
Yeah.
But if you grew up in the 70s like I did, and, every morning you're supposed to have a bowl of sugar cereal that's all, it's oats and sugar, or corn and sugar.
Which is basically sugar and sugar because,
right.
How it acts in your body. So,
Lucky Charms, where even when they take out the marshmallows, it's still all sugar. It just doesn't look like it.
You know what? When I used to eat cereal, I haven't had cereal in a long time, but I love Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Fruity Pebbles.
I get that. I get why you would like Fruity Pebbles.
And I liked Fruit Loops a lot too. But I think those were my favorites.
And Squirrelios?
Squirrelios. And that was as I got older because my parents had money to buy me breakfast cereal. Before that, my mom was on, government assistance. We had WIC. Mm-hmm. And on that, you could, it's way much more broad now what you can get. Back then, you could get this cereal called King Vitamin. And it was like it was like, how hard Captain Crunch is and will cut your mouth up? This stuff was like razor blades, and it was made to be like Captain Crunch, but I swear, like, you would have sores in your mouth from eating King Vitamin. It was so hard. It never got soggy in milk.
Somebody heard that fiber was good in cereal, so they used fiberglass.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was like. And it always had like this cutout mask on the back. You didn't get a toy inside of it. You got the cutout mask.
So you can wear garbage on your face.
It was lame. Yeah. I mean, you're already poor. Why do you care? So anyways.
Maybe that's why you think you're a cat, is because you grew up playing with boxes.
You might be right. I never thought of it. I just love cats. I do. I wouldn't mind being a cat, I don't think. Anyways.
I think that you would love not having any responsibilities and having people just come and clean up after you and feed you.
And worship me, don't forget. Yes, absolutely. Of course. I would love that. I mean, I wouldn't want to really lick myself clean, though. That's the only thing. Like, the only thing that doesn't appeal to me about being a cat is kind of that aspect of it.
Be the only cat that wanted to take a bath.
Yeah, exactly. A little kitty scrub brush. But so, I don't know. Do you have anything else you wanted to add, Daniel?
Just like pay attention to the food pyramid and understand that that's not necessarily what you want to do, and figure out what works for you.
And balance. I think that's something that we really need to hit, is that whatever it takes for you in your life to gain balance and have that, build your family time, build your, silence. That's one of the things that I've been trying to practice more lately, is not to just, like, a lot of times I'll be working and I'll have the TV on in the background, or I'll get in the car to go somewhere and I automatically turn on the radio. Yeah. And so I'm trying to practice not doing that, because there's something about just having silence in your life that allows for your brain to go where it needs to go and go where it wants to go, and think about things. And yoga is one of the things that I used to do. I need to get back into, but that it really, and I do hoop dance. Yeah. And which is, it's a great activity just for burning calories, and exercise, getting my heart rate up, but I'll do that as like a moving meditation a lot of times too.
Yeah. And one of the things that I kind of picked up on in my practice, in my meditation practice, is you don't have to take an hour to sit and meditate. Right. You can just stop and breathe in and breathe out and just think about nothing but your breath. And that's a meditation. Mm-hmm. If every time you hear a bell, you stop and you take just one breath that you're doing intentionally, it's like your whole day just calms down and gets better. Yeah, I find it grounding. Like I realize, like when I do those things, like I'm more mindful, and I get in some of the things that not just like the things that I need to do, because my life is very busy and I need to do a lot of things. But when I get in some of the things that I want to do as well, some of the things that I find just enriching to myself, I have to make time because I'll push all those things aside. But I find that, I know you know this, but I'm kind of a reactionary person in general. I have a temper. Go ahead. No.
Okay.
I think that speaks for itself.
I'm kind of, high strung. Is that what you call it? High strung?
That's a mild way of putting it.
Okay, I'm high strung. I'm very high strung. Okay, so
you're excitable.
Yes, excitable is a good word for it. Yes, and I'm highly neurotic. Like, that's one of the things on my big 5, that I'm pretty up there in neuroticism. And so I can tend to be more reactive to things, but when I do meditate or do yoga or pray, whatever, read for a little bit, sometimes even just with silence, sit on my back porch and have a coffee or a tea, something like that. Those are great times. I'm more grounded, and I really don't react. Sometimes I've surprised myself at not reacting to things in a way that I thought that I would. But I would just encourage everyone to do. You don't have to be religious to meditate. You don't have to be anything to take a few minutes and just take a walk outside. Take a walk around your neighborhood or around your house even, just to get up and refresh yourself. Have a moment where you're not directed to thinking about this or that. Let your brain think for a minute. And a lot of times you'll find that things that you're concerned with do come up. And you could say, okay, I see that this is something I keep thinking about. So
taxation really is theft, and Facebook are a bunch of jerks.
Right. So definitely have your family time. Be sweet with whoever it is, whether it's if you don't have a family, you live alone.
Then kidnap somebody else?
Yes. Your friends, make that community sweet and tight, and get yourself connected with people. Look people in the eyes. Talk to them. Have time during the day where you're really engaged with other people, because it's so easy in the age of social media and instant information that we're looking at screens all day and not at real people. And I think that's really important. And just human touch is very healing, I think. So I know that there's been times where something's bothering me and I don't realize it's really bothering me. And then I'll hug my mom and I'm in a million pieces.
But only touch people who were okay with it.
Yes. Don't be rapey or creepy. Just, But those things are really, really important. And if you look at what little kids, like, why do they want to be held when they're hurting or sad? Because it's a need in humans. Like, we need human touch, and it's very healing. And so I think that maybe sometimes we don't get enough of that. And that, whatever it is in our lives, if you're all stressed out all the time and you're working just to make ends meet, well, maybe bring it back a little. I mean, I have lived debt-free for most of my life. The only debt I have right now is the mortgage on my house. And so that has kept me from having a lot of the stresses that people have had, the bills. And I know that's not always possible, but I think that that's what you should try to shoot for, because debt really is slavery, guys. And you're having to work to pay interest and things like that just you can do without. So pull your lifestyle back if you need to. Live within your means that's one of those things that in that group they taught us, and I'm really, really thankful for, because I learned how to live on very little and to just live within my means. And thankfully I don't have to live on very little, but there's something to be said for waiting to have the things you want. And not just always having to have it now and getting credit in order to do that. So those are definitely stressors that people have. If there's something bad in your relationship, fix it. Figure it out. You can't control other people, but you can control yourself. And so figure out what you need to do. And
when you walk past the bowl of candy corn, have one candy corn and not a pound.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A friend of mine who's lost a bunch of weight, she said that. She said, I eat a certain way now, and I feel really good about those decisions, and I feel good about myself. But sometimes I'll have a piece of pizza instead of 4 pieces of pizza. Like, you don't have to deny yourself constantly. You just have to realize that the decisions that you make now really do affect the decisions you make later. So I think with that being said, did you have any?
Nope, that sounds like a good place to wrap it up.
So, guys, have a great Halloween. Enjoy. I guess you did
have a
great
Halloween.
Halloween. Yeah. Enjoy the upcoming holidays, and just take a minute to evaluate your life. Everybody always rushes at the new year to start doing something about it. Do something now.
And if you accidentally kept some of those kids who came to your door, let them go.
Yeah, definitely do that. Do not take children or anyone else. Yes. So with that, we'll say goodbye. Peace, guys.
Bye, folks.